So, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Again, welcome back on Canon 4 TV, the latest Easy Talk segment. Now, I was just thinking, when I was thinking about what to name the segment, I thought, talk easy, talk easy. No, easy talk, easy talk. That's what I named it. This one won't be easy. It won't be easy, but it's going to be interesting. We've got a couple of regulars, and the third one's coming in, jumping out, coming in. Let's see if we can sort this one out on the other side of this music intro. Yes, welcome back indeed for the latest segment on the Easy Talk. It's Friday. Friday means it's Cracker Jack. No, what am I talking about? Sorry, guys. I had a flashback about my youth. I'm showing my age.
Where's my
Anyway, before we lose somebody, Isaac, are you with us?
Yes, I am here, brother. My Wi-Fi keeps fluctuating.
Okay.
That's why I've been trying to. I'm fighting really hard so that it stabilizes. You know, today I'm full of wisdom, and I like to share my wisdom. I'll not like to miss this show today, but I'm hoping it is stabilized. I've had to change my browser so that I'm using a different browser from the first time, so that I see how it goes. But I'm good. I'm hoping everyone is doing okay.
You sound like Mikel Arteta. I've got some wisdom I want to share. I'm going to share it. It's so positive. Nice one. The Enforcer. How are you keeping, man?
I'm doing well, man. It's good to be here. Thank you for having me on, and it's good to be on with these guys because I know it's going to be a good to cover
Nice
a lot
one.
of subjects and might disagree on a few things, but we might also agree on a few things, which is what it's all about.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better than myself. Well said, the Enforcer. Also, Headbanger. Headbanger.
You couldn't help it. It was a funky tune, Alex. It was a funky tune.
Tony, how you been, brother?
I'm good, my friend. I'm good.
Nice.
Been a kind of busy week, but you know, I'm kind of relieved it's over now. Can relax for the weekend. Unfortunately, no Arsenal, but hey, you know, we just enjoy the calm before the storm again next week.
Yeah, well said, man. Well said. So the first segment we'll talk about. So we know, we kind of beat them lot, Man City, but without our star boy, were we a better balanced team, Isaac, without Bukayo Saka?
I feel we missed Saka in that game. Not that we were more balanced, but I feel we had a respect for City, and they as well had respect for us. You could realize the first half of that game, most of us were saying, "Oh, seemed like a boring game," but it is because both the teams are so good off the ball. So it was more of a silent game because we did not have Saka. I believe if we had Saka, we could have seen a more expansive game. But for me, it is okay. He was missing because this lad has played so many minutes, and he needed to rest. And for the Lens game, when I saw him out there, I was like, "Oh man, what are you doing? You can have someone else in his place." This guy went off limping, and then in the middle of the week, you have him again playing. Does it mean that you do not have an option at all? Then if you do not have an option at all, you've got to go out there and invest in that position. if you cannot trust the options that you have for him. But I believe everybody fits in that Arsenal team at the moment. You could see even the subs that he brought on made impacts, and for him, he says they are not subs, they are impacts that he brings on. And no matter who's out there, as long as they play his philosophy, it fits. It fits. Anybody he puts out there and plays how he wants it will suit the system.
So we didn't miss him. We didn't miss him against Man City. Oh, we missed it. Did we miss him? We didn't miss him. Did we miss him?
It is a 50-50. We
can't have
somehow
50-50.
did,
You can't have
and
50-50.
we somehow did.
Is your glass half empty or half full?
I'm on the fence.
You'll get plenty, Isaac.
Nez, what do you think? Were we a better team without Bukayo Saka? Were we better?
Better's a bit of a. What I think it showed, right? I'm gonna break it out a different way. Yeah. What I think it showed was we don't need to play Saka for every minute of every game.
Absolutely.
This season.
Yeah.
That's one thing it proved. Say whether it was balanced. I actually thought it was a really good game that kept me on the edge of my seat. I just think, I mean, we had, correct me if I'm wrong, we had Jesus in Saka's place, didn't we?
Yeah.
And he played his socks off. He was everywhere. He was tackling. He was doing what he had to do. I just think it showed. I think it was proof to Arteta, and I know Tony's going to expand on it in a minute, I bet. But it proves to Arteta that you don't have to play Saka for every minute of every game. Don't get me wrong. It's nice to get into this milestone of 100 straight games.
Yeah.
But when it's the difference of winning a game or possibly, let's say it's further in the season and winning the league, that's the difference maker. Because I think you'd agree with me, guys. I would say for the last 8 to 10 games of last season where we basically lost the league was because Saka was mentally and physically tired. And obviously we were missing Saliba as well. But they were things we were missing that could have won us the league last season. So to answer your question, I don't know if we were more balanced. We did play well. We totally outplayed Man City. And if you're keeping Haaland down to a 0.00 XG, you're doing your job, aren't you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the true answer to that question, Alex, is I don't really know, but I liked what I saw. And as I say, it just proves you don't have to play Saka for 90 minutes of every game of the season.
But is it the fact that we don't have a quality competition to compete with him in that position there, which is why we've seen him? No,
again, I don't like disagreeing with you, Alex, because you talk a lot of sense, right? But Jesus proved that he can play that position if Saka can't. Yeah, he just does it a different way. It's a different style, if you like, a different look at it. That's all it is. It's just a different way of playing the same position as Saka. And I think that gives you variety and a bit more longevity. And also, you're not as predictable. If that makes sense.
Good point. Tony.
Here we go.
And you're not allowed to say 50-50, Tony. Go for it.
Okay, the question is, did we miss Saka? Does the team feel more balanced without him? We miss Saka. No if, buts, or maybes. Nobody does what Saka does. The end results are the proof in the pudding. He is an astronomical getter of goals and creator of goals.
Disagree with
what
that.
is it? 10 games, 10 goal assists already this season. Phenomenal. So he's a phenom, and who wouldn't miss a player like that in their team? Is the team more balanced without him? No, it's not more balanced without him. with him, we have greater control. We have players who can do things, who understand the way Saka plays. So, for instance, Martin Odegaard has way better games when he knows Bukayo Saka's on the pitch.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I did the same thing. Yeah.
So if you've got the Tinker Master in Odegaard doing what he does, knowing that he can shift the whole dynamics of your back four based on the run that Bukayo Saka is going to make and his judgment as to whether to feed Saka or to go somewhere else, the balance is way better. So for me, the balance is better with Saka always. But at the same time, I would like to point out that the balance of the game changed dramatically in the second half when Thomas Partey and Gabriel Martinelli come into the game. And therefore, you also see the shift in the balance of the team. Because to me, we've missed Martinelli. And to me, we've missed Thomas Partey. So, yes, we can talk about how important Saka is to the team, but I think you also have to give kudos and say, look how important Thomas Partey and Gabriel Martinelli are to this team.
Do you know what I'd really, sorry Alex, but you know what I'd really like to see? I'd really like to see a midfield of Partey, Rice and Odegaard for a full match and see what happens. I really would.
Yeah. But Tony, just go back to your point. I mean, I think Des was saying that, you know, if we had a Bukayo Saka, we probably would have made played more expansive football, but wouldn't have left us more open to the attack of a Man City. But the fact that it was like, I think if he wasn't injured, he would have played against Man City. But the fact that he couldn't play meant that we had to use like a plan B in Gabriel Jesus. But if Bukayo Saka was playing, that would have allowed us to play more expansive football. More expansive football means we would have been open to more attacks from Man City. No, Tony?
You just don't know. I mean, let's not get it twisted. We played a Man City that didn't have Rodri, their midfield dynamo and genius, and didn't have Kevin De Bruyne. So, you know, look, there have been occasions when Man City have beaten us and we haven't had all of our players. So, you know, look, we take the win and we take it how it comes. I'm not going to put too much into it to say, oh, because we don't play Saka, that means that we can now beat Man City just by eliminating him from the team every time we play them. No, that doesn't. That's not how it works. In a more expansive game where you need to have, you know, let's just say a little bit more defensive type players, I don't think you benefit by dropping Saka.
Isaac, no more 50-50.
I believe last season, Arteta was more of attacking. But I've seen him this season. I go back to more of being conservative. That's why we've, at some point, even some pundits are saying that we have not clicked. That is the term they have used. And it is not that it has not clicked for us, you know, but it is that he is more conservative and he doesn't want to be exposed. Like at some instance last season we were exposed because we were pressing throughout the game, and you cannot press throughout the season. Sometimes you've got to realize that there are games that you will have to respect your opponent and try to play through them, unlike pressing throughout the 90 minutes. And I believe our press last season at some point cost us because the players got tired. And at some point when we lost our key players is because of the amount of press that they put forward. So at some point he has got to have a plan A, B, and C, and see today we are not going to go full 90. At some point we are going to let them have the ball, but defend really, really well, like we did with Man City. And I can remember in the Community Shield game where we had, that is the combination of Partey, Rice, and Odegaard. That combination was in the Community Shield game. You could remember we also had that respect for the opponent, and we played in certain phases. Like from the first to 30th minute, we didn't go full pressing, and I've realized we are pressing, or we are more dynamic toward the last 15 minutes of the game. That is the last 15 in the first half and the last 15 in the second half. And you can see that pattern has given us more late goals in some of the games that we've played.
But why is he become more conservative in this season? Is it like you say, because we went kind of hell for leather last season, the players kind of ran out of steam and we didn't really have like a plan B and C? So is he learned the lesson from last season, or he's probably always had this as something to do in this new season? Why the change?
I believe he's learned, and you could see last season when we played away from home, he was more conservative. Unlike when we played at home he was more direct. But when we went away, he was more conservative. And we are the top team, or we are ranked number one, having kept more clean sheets away than any other team, because he was more conservative with the ball. And I realize it's something he's adapting this season. He wants to be more conservative even at home. Even if he doesn't play beautiful football, he'll win you games. Even if it doesn't play that electrifying football and wins us the league, we will be up on the roof celebrating that we've won the league. And like playing beautiful football and end up losing the way we lost last season.
Des, I can see you're person to say something.
How can you always say that I want to? I don't know. Right, okay. I'm not going to disagree with Isaac on anything that he said, because at the end of the day, he used stats, and I'm not very good with stats. Okay, but I will say this: I think Sunday we saw Arteta's plan B. That team that played on Sunday was the plan B, and it's the plan B because of like what Tony said. Saka wasn't on the pitch, so any team without Saka is a plan B. Would you not agree, Tony?
Oh,
yeah. So
yeah.
I mean, I said it in the group while I was watching the match. Raya, his distribution in the first, was it 30 minutes? Was, oh my, what has happened to this man? Get Rambo back in the next game. I was in the group, yeah. And then suddenly, I mean, the truth bit is on Sunday we controlled that midfield. They were trying to hit it long, and we were blocking it out. Everybody was doing the job that they were on the pitch to do. Okay, you know, the goals didn't come thick and fast, but I mean, and what I would like to say is that I've had a lot of Man City supporters who are my friends, and they're going, "Oh, you're going to scream now that you're going to win the league and everything, aren't you?" But I would like to say this: I'd like Arsenal fans to calm down a bit, and I'm just speaking in general. I'm not pointing fingers at one particular group or whatever. We're 8 games in.
Yeah.
Don't start screaming that we're going to win the league. Don't do, because we're setting it. If you do that, guys, whoever you may be who may be doing this, right, and I'm speaking general, and you can't say I'm enforcing this, if you start doing that, okay, if it all goes wrong, who does it affect the most?
Yeah.
It affects us all. Yeah? So the only one thing I will say about what one thing my Manchester United fans friends said was, oh, it was a lucky goal, it was this, it was that, right? Okay, it bounced off Aki's face, but there was a bit of luck, right? But if they'd have scored it like that, yeah, they would have gone, well, we're the treble champions, we're Man City, this is what we do. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, when we do it, it's luck. And do you know what ruined the game on Sunday? And I know we're probably going to talk about this in depth a bit more later on, but I just want to bring it up now. And I've said it before in other podcasts and shows that I've been on. Have you noticed in most of the Arsenal games this season, or a lot of other games as well, we're talking more about the referees and VAR than we are the actual match? And that's what football's become lately. We are talking about. I mean, let's be blunt and honest about it. That first tackle was a red card straight away, and for him to get away with it twice, yeah. And yet, I remember, was it Wolves when he sent off Martinelli within 5 minutes? Two yellow cards in 5 minutes, and he sent off Martinelli.
I believe it was. Yeah.
2 yellow cards in 5 minutes, and he sent off Martinelli. Yeah, I forgot his name. Kosovic, isn't it? Something like that.
Actually, it was not 5 minutes. He gave him 2 yellow cards for 2 offenses apart, and immediately that this one is for that tackle and this one is for that tackle.
That's what I'm basically saying. Yeah, that guy nearly broke Odegaard's ankle, right? Because that boot was up. Studs were up. Yeah, studs were up. And look what he did to Declan Rice. Yeah, I'm sorry, he should have gone on the first tackle. He should have gone. But I'm glad in a way that he didn't. And this is going to sound a bit backhanded, I suppose, but I'm glad he didn't, because we beat Man City with 11 players on the pitch instead of 10, and it didn't give them the excuse of coming back at us and saying, "Oh, well, you only beat us because we had 10 men on the pitch." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go.
Tone, did you really see a Man City get out of second gear on Sunday? What did they really go through the gears?
I've got to believe that they tried, but I think Arsenal were exceptional in their defending, their reading of lines, their ability to cut out fluid movements. Look, Man City are not at full stretch at the moment. They lost 2 of their best players, and obviously the week prior they'd lost to Wolves, which kind of was giving me the writings on the wall here, where, you know what, this is undoubtedly one of the best chances we've got to beat this team.
Yeah.
And we kind of laboured in the first half, but we didn't look like we were going to concede. We did give them an opportunity. There was an opportunity that they had where they could have scored, but it was one opportunity. And that's going to happen in a game.
Yeah.
There's always going to be one opportunity. What we didn't have was multiple opportunities, multiple cases of them cutting through our lines. We did an absolutely splendid job of nullifying their methodology of playing, and that was the best thing that I could say about the first half. We didn't give them anything.
Yeah.
It was a game of chess, Alex. It was a game of chess.
Yeah.
It really was.
Yeah. Because I got the impression that literally they were trying to play the ball from the back, trying to draw us in, and we didn't kind of fall for it. I was thinking,
yeah, exactly.
Okay, all right. You know what, guys? Let's go into the live chat and just see, because there's been just a few comments on this easy talk. Let's kind of catch up. So we've got Guna Matters, Glenwyn, who says, "Hey up, lovely weather." Well, it's not lovely over here. There's a lot of rain over here.
Yeah. Thanks, Glenwyn. Thanks for that. Yeah. I can't see out the window. Thanks, Cleveland.
I don't want to see out. Anyway, Colin says, let's go, Alex. Hit that like button. Slackers coming for the TV. Lives on. Love the man. Love the man. How's it, Glenwyn? Okay, a little bit of internal stuff there. And we've got Richard. CM War Games is back. It says, evening all. And he said that we missed the speed and the guile, but we still got the result done, and others stepped up in his absence. And that's the point, isn't it? The result, whether it was ugly or pretty, the result is the most important thing, with or without a Bukayo Saka. What else do we have here? We've got, let's have a look. Richard says, great panel tonight. Been interested to see the topics discussed. And 7 appearances in 4 league goals to assist. Yet people say Saka hasn't been very good so far this season. Whoever said that, send them to me.
Need shooting.
I think, Tony, I don't think the fact Rodri or CDB are not there. City has been known for the depth, even though Fundy and Mahrez are gone, they're still strong. So Pep got it wrong, bruv.
Okay, so I'm not sure who Fundy is. I can only guess it's some kind of reference to Gundogan.
Gundogan.
Player that they missed.
Okay.
I think he means Gundogan. Whatever his name is. The German name, isn't it?
Yeah.
Gundogan.
You know, look, the good thing about Man City is they have lost players under Pep Guardiola's tenure, and he's managed to find replacements. So I wouldn't say he's got it wrong, because if he wins the league again this season, nobody's gonna say, "Oh, you got it wrong." And
Exactly.
much like any football manager, you're gonna lose good players. Yeah, you know, there isn't a team out there who hasn't at some point in time lost a good player. You know, there's no team. You know, Manchester United, Barcelona, Real Madrid, they're all cursing their luck that they let a player go at the wrong time, and that player went on to become a superstar somewhere else. It doesn't matter. So what it is if you're a good manager and you've done the right things and you've been supported by your club, you find a way. And that's what Pep's been good at. He's been good at molding and, you know, bringing players. Now, of course, they also make mistakes. And to me, Calvin Phillips is a classic case of he made a mistake. Yeah?
Well,
because to me, it looks like I'd rather play Rico Lewis than Calvin Phillips.
Yeah.
And Calvin Phillips is now surplus to requirements.
He'll have to move on if he wants to carry on with his career. He'll have to move on.
Absolutely. But it's just part of football. And, you know, to Gunnar Matter's points, you know, it is football. I don't think you have to go, he got it wrong. I just think it's just part and parcel of the game. You know, Mahrez is making a lot of money where he's gone. Yeah. And Gundogan had his heart set on going to Barcelona.
Alex, can I just say one thing as well?
Sure.
Kai Havertz needs a bit of credit for this weekend, because he could have had a shot and he laid it off to Martinelli.
I think he's probably had the best game so far for Arsenal.
Yeah.
One of the best.
What has happened to Tommy Asu? He's a different player this season. In the pre-season, he's been taught how to invert. It's amazing.
But there's a quick question, Des. With Kai Havertz, is he a better player utilised if he comes off from the bench rather than starting him?
I think he is. I think he's more of an impact player. I really do.
Tony's got his finger up.
No.
I mean, I just want to say, you know, I've not said a bad word about Kai Havertz, and you know I've been defending him like mad in our WhatsApp group. The thing is, I just think there are players who suit certain types of games. You know, I think there are times when you need Fabio Vieira, and I think there are times when you need Kai Havertz. I think there are times when you're going to need Emil Smith-Rowe, and there are times when you're going to need Leandro Trossard. Those players possibly could be in and out all season long, but you have to work out what occasion, in which game, you're going to either start them or bring them on to make an impact.
Totally.
That's just my feeling. I think when you lay it all on the table and you go, who's our best 11? Our best 11 is probably going to be Saka, Martinelli, and Jesus. And then the midfield, as Des says, I believe Declan Rice, Odegaard, and Thomas Partey, which doesn't leave space for Kai Havertz. But in certain games, in certain circumstances, you probably want to replace one of those with a Kai Havertz. Or bring him on to make a difference. Or start him to create something.
Were you guys surprised to see Jorginho on the pitch on Sunday? But I thought he played really well. I've got to say, I thought he played really well. But I wasn't expecting Jorginho on the pitch, I must be honest.
Yeah.
I was surprised.
Yeah, likewise. Isaac, your thoughts about Kai Havertz? Is he best suited coming off the bench, or, like Tony says, pick and choose which games he can and cannot play?
In this, I'll have to shake hands with Tony and say pick and choose which games he plays.
I'm going. I'll see you all
because you look there are games you need certain players, and I think people are saying he's a mini Pep, and I'll say he's a mini Pep because Pep is picking and choosing which games he plays certain players, and that is the kind of football we have right now. It has evolved, and you'll have to look at the strengths, and you'll have to look at who complements who. And I'm pretty sure once we have Julian Timber fit, and he plays him. When he plays Timber on the left, he'll probably play Kai Havertz as a number 8 playing on the left, because Timber has his qualities, so he can complement Havertz. So you look at the kind of players you're choosing and who complements who and where. So it is a pick and choose, and that is how it is. And his players will have to understand that this is the kind of system we are playing today. This player complements this player so that we get the best results. And that is how Pep has managed to have the depth he has at City for all those years, because he picks and complements. And that is how he's able to keep his players happy, because he gives almost all of them playing time in every game. Or if one doesn't play this game, you're pretty sure the next game they will have playing time, but there is someone else who complements their weaknesses, and that is how he will have to evolve that way.
Yeah.
And for Havertz, for me, Havertz, is low on confidence, and if we have a prime Havertz, but you can see that he's tall, but his ball control is he doesn't have more of a ball control. He's not going to dribble past players, so you'll need a Havertz in a low block team opponent, that is, and probably I might give you more analysis, but let me give the others time to also comment.
Yes, goodness.
I now know what we call Woolwich Arsenal, yeah?
Yeah.
It should be called Woolworths Arsenal because it's pick and mix.
Oh, God.
It should be Woolworths Arsenal. Yeah. No, I totally see. I don't feel intelligent to be on this intelligent enough to be on this panel this evening. But
I'll be yourself.
I'm only joking. I'm joking. I totally agree with the five, but it is courses for courses and this player for this game and this player for that game. I totally get that, right? But I feel sorry for Arteta in a way because you can see that he's totally trying to step out of Pep's shadow. No, I don't. What are you looking at me for?
You feel sorry for him? Why?
I've never been Arteta out, right? But I will say this: I feel sorry for him because it is on every media outlet, mini Pep, mini this, mini that, and do you know what? I think he's trying so hard to step away from being, you know, as people called him, Pep's cone boy and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. Oh, he's coming at me again. All I'm saying is I genuinely think Arteta is totally trying to step out from Pep's shadow. I really do. Harry, please, it's all yours now, mate.
Go on, Tony.
Okay. So I just want to say, I think Pep stepped out of Arteta's shadow to a certain degree, because let's not forget,
I'll take that.
Pep made it very clear he learned a hell of a lot from working with Mikel Arteta. So I think, you know, if you listen to Pep, he has so much praise for Mikel Arteta and the work he done with him, that I think there's such a respect that, you know, it's almost on a fanboy basis, that anytime I hear any questions to Pep about Mikel Arteta, he glows. He absolutely glows. You listen to any interview with Pep, he absolutely glows when he talks about Mikel Arteta. And to me, that's a fanboy. That's someone who you can turn around and go, well, actually, I learned so much from that guy that I probably benefited more from being with him than him being from me. So I get what you're saying, Des. I just want to add balance to that argument.
I'm glad you did, because I tell you what, I've never really looked at it like that, but I totally see where you're coming from. I really, really do, yeah. And you know, it's like two sides of a coin, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? And but when I don't know if like Alex said, feel sorry and looked at me. I don't know if feel sorry was too strong, but I thought it's the only way you can get your point across. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Let's go to the next segment anyway, at least. And this might kind of get the juices flowing. So here's a quote from Roy Keane, who says, Arsenal can win the league, but they would need that striker. It's great when you're watching a team that can play, that is good in possession, but also physical strength. We've seen Man City over the last few years. They've got bigger. Obviously, set pieces are huge. We've seen lads in the season come off the bench for Arsenal. They are big, strong, physical players who can get you over the line in tight games. But I'm thinking, is it not time, surely, that we go out and get a striker? Now, I know Ivan Toney has been in the news again. And I think Ian Wright has said that, you know, ideally, we need to go in the market in January and buy Ivan Toney. But Isaac, surely we need an out-and-out striker who can guarantee Arsenal a certain amount of goals every season, Isaac. Am I right or am I wrong? No 50% over here.
You're right. And I might have Roy Keane and Ian Wright go out for lunch, and I'll pay for the bill because of the wisdom they are oozing. And it's true, we need an in and out striker. Personally, I'll go for Ivan Toney and not Osimhen. I've looked at the two. I've looked at their injury records. I've looked at their strengths and their weaknesses. And my conclusion is, if we had an Ivan Toney who scored 20 plus goals for Brentford, he could score even more for Arsenal. I watch each and every game in the Premier League, and I look are the kind of strikers that are there, the likes of Haaland. And Man U went for a similar name and got themselves a Hodgland. They were looking for a Haaland, but they got a Hodgland. And the two have the physical presence. And we do not have a striker with a physical presence at the moment. And my preference for Tony is his anchor play. And if you want to play the ball over the top and not through the team, is one of the kinds who has his anchor strong and is able to turn defenders. It does not matter who you put in front of him. Does not matter if it is a Saliba or a Gabriel, is able to turn them. And that for me gives him an upper hand. And you see, like when we played Man City, there are instances where Raya went for the long balls. And it is very unfortunate that we did not capitalize on those long balls. But if you have an Ivan Toney who's got a strong anchor, you are able to capitalize on those balls and you are able to have opportunities from those balls. So yes, we do need a striker, and also we need a Saka backup. So if he goes out in January and gets Pedro and gets Ivan Toney, I'll be happy, because that way we can compete. And someone said when the margin is too small, it is harder to close the margin when it is too small than when we were fighting to close the 20 points gap. The 20 points gap is easier than when it is 5 or 4 points, because you'll have to be at your best so that you can close that 4-point margin.
Tony, now I know you posted a video, well, actually a link and the news about Ivan Toney linked again to Arsenal. Now, I don't know whether you want us to go in the market and get Ivan Toney. 2 caveats. He's scored the vast majority of his goals from the penalty spot for Brentford. And when he does come back in January, is he going to be the same player? Is he going to be the same player?
He'll be even better.
Okay. All right.
I mean, let's be honest. He's taken an extended break. He will be at his peak in terms of fitness because he's had a huge pre-season. Don't forget, he is playing behind closed door games.
Yeah.
He's not just training. He's playing games now. You know, what generally tends to happen with footballers is if they're on a break, they start getting in the gym, because what you have to do as a professional athlete earning thousands of pounds per week is spend hundreds or thousands of pounds per week on your physical fitness. The best basketball player in the world is LeBron James, and he's the best basketballer in the world because he spends £1 million a year on his fitness. Yeah. So one of the issues with some of our players is they're playing back to back. They don't get that break to say, oh, you know what? Let me go away. Let me get a complete rest and then start a workout plan that will take a month, 2 months, and put me at the end of that plan at peak physical condition. What has happened with Bukayo Saka is he's had an injury at the end of last season. He's had no break during the summer because he's played games. Then he's come back and he's still carrying a knock, and he's just keeping on. Yeah. Ivan Toney, on the other hand, has had an extended break. He's probably feeling more relaxed than anything. And I'll tell you that because I'm an athlete. And I'll tell you for nothing, I've worked my socks off during last season, not in football, but in boxing. And everything was hurting at the end of my season. The summer holiday, I had no training. I spent it in Las Vegas. I had hot sun, I mean heat, on my skin. And when I came back to season, I'm feeling ecstatic. My body is in the best shape I've felt for a long time because I've had that extended break. And then I'm starting to build again on a work program that should get me to a point whereby when you say to me, we're going, I'm so ready to fire away. So I'm expecting him to have the hunger to want to come back after being forced to not play football, to come back and say, I'm ready. I'm going to show you lot that I'm the best player in the world. Because let's be honest, on goals alone, forget the fact that most of them are penalties. He's the third highest scoring footballer in the Premier League last season. Yeah. So he's going to want to pick up that and say, I'm still the best striker in the Premier League.
He's going to be ravenous. He's going to be ravenous.
He's ravenous, as Des has said, What we want to do is we want to bring him in and say, okay, feed.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Feed me more. Feed me more.
And all I can say is, you've done well at Brentford, but imagine the service you're going to get if you're at Arsenal.
Because can I expand on that, Tony, what you've just said? But before I do, I've just got to quickly do something, Alex. Sam, would you chuck me a cough, please? Because Alex has got me juices flowing. Right, okay. Tony, you've hit the nail on the head. You've absolutely hit the nail on the head, right? I tell you now, brother, you've hit the nail on the head. That man is going to be tearing it up when he comes. Whether it's for Brentford, and I hope it's for us, whoever he plays for, he's going to rip it up because he's got something to prove. Yeah? He is going to tear it up. And I'd rather he was doing it for us. Osimhen, too expensive. Wage problem, go away. Now, the only other option I think we've got, and you either agree or disagree with this, guys, if you want youth, you go for Ferguson from Brighton. If you want a striker with youth, you go for Ferguson from Brighton, right? But if you want goals now and say goals for the next 3-4 years, you go with Tony. Yeah?
All right.
That's I'm just giving you an option. Do you know what I mean? But I think the consensus is Tony in January. Yeah? We need him. We do need him for what Isaac said, the skills he's got for holding up the ball. Can you imagine? You see, like Tony said earlier, I'm going to go back to what Tony said earlier. When the Clark-Wigan and Saka are together, it's a different style of football. Yeah. I also think, I genuinely think this, if Tony's the striker, Odegaard's going to enjoy passing it to him as well because he knows that Ivan Toney is going to be able to do something with it. Do you know what I mean? There's a good chance of an end product, and that's what we need, isn't it? Go on, Alex.
There's a quick question. Is there a certain amount of money you would not go beyond to buy Ivan Toney, or would you go hell for leather to get him in? Because I'm hearing £50 million, and then some.
I'm hearing 60. So
right.
Yeah, you've got to cap it somewhere, and that's why I'm giving you the option of Ferguson. Yeah. Right.
Okay.
But that's only if you can't get Tony. Yeah.
Okay.
Or if for some weird reason Arteta wants youth in the team, it gives him. It's another choice. But the first choice, and I agree with the guy, the first choice would be Tony. And if you had to pay 60 million for him, I'd pay it.
All right.
Brighton will ask you for 100. Brighton will ask you 100 for Ferguson because they've been asking they asked for Bissouma 100. And they are in the habit of asking for some loads of money. But I believe, for me, if Tony goes for 60, that is a fair price at the moment. He is 27 years old. He is experienced. He's proven. Unlike someone like Osimhen, you might be asked for 150. He's not proven in the Premier League. And you know what happens to strikers or players who come into the Premier League without the experience, and you buy him with a high price. He'll have two problems. Number one, prove yourself you are worth the price tag. Number two, prove you can do it in the Prem. But for Ivan Toney, he's ready. He's cooked. And Alex, I'll tell you today that you got the 3 wise men from the east.
Let me just expand on something with Ferguson for a second, though, right? They're not going to get 100 million for Ferguson, and the reason being they're not going to get 100 million for Ferguson is because he's like we said about Arsenal before. For Brighton at the moment, he's a pick and mix player. Yeah, he's not a first teamer, so I don't think they would get 100 million for Ferguson. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm going on the premise that he's not a first team player. He's a pick and mix player. So there's a good chance they won't get 100 million for Ferguson. But I'm only saying Ferguson as a choice. I'm not even saying that they will go for him. I'm just saying because we all know that Arteta likes you. Yeah? Yeah. And I'm just giving options, and maybe try and get the chat involved a bit and see what they think. That's what that was for. But my first choice, without a shadow of a doubt, would be Ivan Toney. What about you, Alex? What would you say?
I've always said Ivan Toney for me. We've got to have that player who has the physicality. And I can only remember one striker that has made William Saliba look so uncomfortable with his physicality. It was Ivan Toney. Yeah, Ivan Toney for me all day long.
That's a fair point. He's the only bloke who could do something to the Rolls Royce, isn't he?
Exactly. Here's another quote actually from an ex-Arsenal player. Ian Wright says, he thinks signing Ivan Toney would be the last piece of the jigsaw Arsenal needs. The thing with the way we play and how we spread goals across the season. Yes, it looked up to a certain place, but I don't think Toney links will go away. I believe that Arsenal, in what we're trying to do now, the margins are so small now, as Isaac said. You cannot afford to miss those chances and not win those games. The Toney links don't go away because you can see that's probably the least bit in the jigsaw, or the last bit. It's obvious for everyone to see that this is the last piece of the jigsaw. He will do it if we ask him to get the job done. So for me, it's always been Ivan Toney. Always Ivan Toney. But £60 million, I'm thinking anything beyond £60 million, I'm not sure. I'm not sure, Tony. Would you spend the money to get Ivan Toney and Tony?
Yeah. I mean, we've seen our noisy neighbours go out and spend big money. Look, everybody's got money in the Premier League. And I don't actually think we need to bark at 60 million as being this huge figure anymore. It's like, I think we're all trying to cap the figure at which we should be amazed and like, whoa. But actually, we were like this when Trevor Francis went for 1 million. Like, what? £1 million? Whoa.
Yeah. Good point.
Now we just moved the goalpost, and we're now at the point where 100 million is kind of like a going rate now to ask. Yeah,
it's the new 50 million, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. So I think if you get Ivan Toney for 60 million, I don't think we bark at the price anymore because technically it's actually a small fee in comparison to some other players. I mean, Ivan Toney 60 compared to Havertz at 65.
Well, I mean,
good point.
Look at Durian 45. It's pocket change, isn't it, for Durian? Yeah. And did you guys also know that he's back into light training already?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. He wants to be back by the end of January.
Yeah, those cryogenic chambers, man. I need one of them.
Mate.
All right, let's go back to the
do you know? Do you know Julian Timber has a twin brother who's playing football at Feyenoord?
Yeah.
A friend of mine was watched the Feyenoord game and was like, "What? Is this a replay?" Because I can see Julian Timber playing, and I went to do my research, only to find that he had a twin brother, but the twin brother is playing in midfield.
You know what, Des, you sound like an agent, man. You sound like an agent. Like an agent. What agent? I'm giving you options, this amount of money, you can be an agent.
All I'm saying is I've thought about it. You know what I mean? And you know when I tell you what part of the problem is that's happened to us in the past, right, Alex? And you'll probably agree, and Tony will, Isaac may will agree as well. Shouldn't always focus on one player, because if you look at Mudryk as an example, Mudryk was coming to us. Mudryk was coming. I got excited, you know. I was waving the flags and everything. Do you know what I mean? And then went to Chelsea.
Yeah.
These days in the transfer window, guys, you cannot put all your eggs in one basket. You have to have options.
Yeah, well said. Let's go into the live chat. See what else has been said there. John the Geezer says, I made the mistake of saying we will win the league last year. You did, didn't you? This year, you proved right. All right, let's see then.
We're only 8 games in, Guna. We're only 8 games in.
Thanks. Actually, Guna Matters, Tony, says, thanks for the response, Tony. I'm referring to your statement that Rodri and Kevin De Bruyne not to he. I'm sure I don't understand what he means by that. And Colin Young says, I'm behaving on this Kai Havertz thing. We'll leave it there. Havertz assist. Aguna Matters. Glenman says he played a Silva in a sixth position, and it was an unorthodox move for Pep. Hence, getting it wrong. Could have played Nunes in six much stronger. Again, horses for courses. Nobody's perfect. Emerson, good evening, says spot on Tony on Havertz. It's his best used him as a sub. But I think what Tony was trying to say is maybe some games as a sub and maybe some games he could be a starter. Again, horses for courses.
I said use him as a sub, so yeah. Tony, Tony, I bow down to Tony.
You sound like an agent again, man.
Definitely some games sub, some games start, because as I said, if I'm being true to myself and going like what 11 do I always start with? Well, I'm gonna have Martinelli, Jesus, or Ivan Toney and Saka on the right. But in certain games, you know, you need to rest those players. You know, you might need to give somebody, you know, some minutes. Just, you know, if you're playing Gabriel Jesus, you might want to rest somebody else and let Leandro Trossard come in and have some minutes, or you know, ESR or Fabio Vieira. So it's a squad game, and as that is what it is, then there's gonna be opportunities where you're gonna see Havertz start a game, Vieira start a game, ESR possibly start a game. You know, we just need to be wary and know that Mikel has to start utilizing his squad better, because what we don't want is players flaking out at the end of the season. We want them strong at the end of the season, which is why I've been pretty disappointed with his usage of Saka, much like everybody else has, because I don't want to see the kid blow out halfway through the season or 3/4 of the way through the season. I need him in that final stretch.
Yeah, totally. And I'm glad
I'm gonna even add an extra layer to that, because I believe with the right additions in January, we could even have a push at that Champions League. And again, if we're at that stage where we get to quarterfinals, semi-finals, etc., finals, then we're going to need those players to be on the money at the end of the season.
Well said, Tony. Well said.
Tony.
Can I just say as well, I'm so glad Saka isn't playing for England.
Yeah. Thank goodness for that. Yeah.
Some sense has finally been used.
Yeah. Isaac, there's a question for you. It comes from the Assembled. It says, evening, everyone. Question. Can you tell who has scored 20 goals since Mikel Arteta imposed his system and no plan B?
Well, all the goals were shared out last season, weren't they? Did Odegaard get 15?
16.
16, I think, yeah.
16.
Yeah.
How many did Saka end up with in the end?
15.
15, and Martinelli 15, I think.
Yeah, no one actually got 20, did they?
No, we didn't need it. We didn't need it.
No.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So let's go on to basically the last segment. International break. Has the international break come at the right time or the wrong time? Do we really care?
No.
All right. Next.
Keep it short and sweet. No.
I
Me
mean,
and Tony, we're putting up our no card. No.
I'm kind of glad because Saka's getting a rest.
Yeah.
You know, what's good is that Gabriel's played his third game for Brazil and he scored his first goal. So he's going to be on cloud cuckoo land now, wanting to score more goals. So that's always a bonus. The other bonus is Saliba didn't go to France.
Yeah.
He's getting a rest.
Yeah.
Did he not?
Trossard didn't go to Belgium. He's getting a rest.
Good.
Saka didn't go. He's getting a rest. And there's one other who didn't go.
Jorginho.
Jorginho.
Yeah, but we might lose Tommy Ashton for a month soon, mightn't we? And Thomas Partey against the
African.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
And Partey went with our physio.
That's good. That's good. No, I'm glad about that.
Anything Arsenal, I have to follow keenly.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
No, carry on.
Did Alex want a longer answer to the international break?
No.
Sorry, Isaac. Carry on.
I'll probably say I'm glad. Okay, for the momentum, it is not a good thing. But on the other side, it is okay. It has come at this time because we have a few injuries, so that we could have them back at the time that we restart our games. And all the players that we've mentioned who have injuries and didn't go for the international break, at least you could be sure at the end of the international break they'll have been back in training, and we'll have a full squad except for Julian, who's aiming to come back in January, and I was amazed that he's back in training, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing that we have a fit squad, and the games that, bearing in mind that games are coming up in each and every 3 days, it is something that we really need a healthy squad and a fully fit squad.
Absolutely.
And Martinelli was the other name that I couldn't remember who didn't go on international duty.
Oh, I didn't know
Yes,
that.
he didn't.
Oh, wow.
He didn't.
So, you know, those players are enjoying a nice...
Can I ask a question? How much of that is the player's choice, and how much of that is down to Arteta turning around and saying, no, you can't have it?
Good point, actually.
Or is it all down to Arteta? Is it?
Who knows?
Yeah.
I remember there were times in the past where Man United players, you'll hear them withdrawing from international duty. It was kind of a black card for them to remain in the training ground. But for some of our players like Saka is an injury issue, and Trossard is an injury issue. Martinelli, I believe, might have been a personal or something that came from Arteta that we don't need to lose you. You look at the options we've got. Saliba, a total injury that might have been an excuse. I don't know when he picked that injury, but all in all, I'm happy that they remained behind, but they also went to training this week. They did not remain and just rest at their homes. They went to training.
Yeah. Guys, we have come to an end on this Easy Talk, which the hour and almost 5 minutes went so very, very quick. Fun, jokes, laughter. No 50-50 business over here. We don't do 50-50. Anyway. Isaac, it's always a pleasure, as you know, to have you on the platform. Always a pleasure, brother. Always a pleasure. Thank you for your wisdom. Make it sound like Mikel Arteta. So thank you for that, brother. Say hello to your family.
And I'll give you a letter to take to Vieira. He needs to consult Martinelli nutritionist so that he gains some pounds, because he could be lethal. He is a lethal guy. If he gains some more pounds, I'm very sure we've got a gem in our hands.
Well said. The Enforcer.
Yes, sir. Always a pleasure. Yes. It's always a pleasure to be on with these guys, and I just come on here and I do what I love to do, and that's talk about Arsenal. And I am the common man of this panel. Yeah, I keep it layman's terms. I don't do well, we'll do that together, Alex. I don't do all the stats. I just do straight talking. Sometimes I'm proven wrong, and I put my hand up to that, especially from Tony. And it's always great to be here. Thank you, Alex, for having me.
Nice one, Des. And last but not least, pugilistic boy, Tony.
Yeah, as always, as Des has said, it's great to knock heads with you guys. Always a pleasure to be on, Alex. So thank you very much for keeping this channel running and doing a great job doing so. The chats are always wonderful, whether I'm on it or not. They're always incisive and knowledgeable. So, yeah, keep up the good work.
Nice one, brother. Thank you for that. So, the next time you guys will see me will be on Monday. International break. Who cares? I don't care.
International break. What are you on about?
Guys, thank you so very much, and until then, this has been Easy Talk on Cannon Fodder, the channel